Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stassi. Thank you so much for being here today. I am very excited to be wrapping up our mini series of Building 101. I'm so excited to have Jubie here today and a first time guest, that one green leaf. Thank you ladies so much for coming here today to talk about how to build a castle.
Oh boy, it sounds so weird saying the first time. I'm like, oh, this is so weird.
Have you ever done a podcast before?
I have not.
Wow. Okay. We got two firsts here today. First time on this podcast and first time on a podcast ever. My advice to you is don't be scared. Don't ever be nervous. Don't be scared. We're just gonna talk
Okay,
about The
great. Yeah,
Sims.
no, let me
It's
just do that. That's great. That's great advice.
it's just like having a little conversation and you just have your headphones in.
Yeah, exactly. We're just talking at each other in our screens instead of it being in real life. I promise you by the end of the podcast, you'll forget that you're on a podcast. And that is a special secret that I do quite frequently all the time. Well, before we dive in and talk about how we build the castles, I could not have this podcast without the fucking queen of castles herself, Jubiesims.
Real.
You can't think of castle building in The Sims and not think of Jubie. So Jubie, welcome back. And again, thank you for coming to me with this mini series idea. It has been a giant success. You have helped out a lot of new coming builders in the last couple months of people listening to these episodes.
You're gonna make me have emotions at 9:19 in the morning. But
Well,
it's nice to be back. Thanks for having me again. I'm glad we could. It's like the end of a little era that we've had, and
yeah.
Aw.
it's so cute.
Right? It's just been so amazing, like getting to know like your tips and tricks about building. And not only that, it's just kind of like seeing the community really coming together for each episode
Mhm.
and being like, I didn't know this, or this is so cool, or I love Jubie and Kevin and Koki. Like I love them. I love them. I love them. But Jubie, before we dive in and talk about your affinity for castles, why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
Okay. Well, I'm Jubie, and if you haven't heard me on here, I think I've been on here now over 10 times.
You have.
So if if you haven't already heard, I like castles. I like builds that are really weird and wacky and wild and big. Um, you
Hmm.
can find me on all of the social medias at Jubiesims. I think, like I've said before, once you found me, I'm not going to leave your side. I will be attached to you. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
I love that. Well, welcome back. And as we start off the top of the podcast, that one green leaf, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. How are how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I can't get any better. I'm gonna share this story now
Uh-oh.
because oh yeah, I you already know what it is.
You came
So
with stories.
I start well before we started. I was talking about it. So as you know, I've been pondering season 3 guests. I like to interview all aspects of the community, new simmers, simmers that have been around for a long time, bigger simmers, smallish simmers, medium simmers. I will interview anybody. And I put out a list who you wanted. Over 200 people asked me for that one green leaf.
No.
Yep.
No, that's fake news.
It's definitely not fake news, my friend. People really wanted me to interview you. So stay tuned for season 3 of our summer spotlight. But in the meantime, I'm very excited to have you here today and get to kind of learn a little bit more about your building style. And as I start all podcasts, why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
Yeah. So, first of all, I'm really grateful to be here. It's kind of wild to me that you even asked, so thank you for that. And I'm that one green leaf, aka Leaf. I mostly stream on Twitch and play The Sims only because I was a fake variety streamer, but I'm not anymore. I've given in to the fact that The Sims is my only personality trait, and that's fine. Strangerville is my favorite pack, and I know that's controversial, but it is. And I like 20 by 15 lots. I'm not a 64 by 64 girly like Jubiesims.
Leaf, you're preaching to the choir. Anytime I'm in a builders collab, I'm like, okay, what the fuck's the smallest lot I can get here? A 15 by 20? I'm your girl. I will build the best
I'm
thing.
in.
I am in on the smallest lot ever. So, but I'm very excited to have you here today and welcome. Jubie, take us away, girl. How do you start building a castle? What worlds do you pick? What lots do you pick?
Okay, so let's think about this systematically.
Mhm.
When you go to build a castle, if you're starting by just staring at a blank lot, I would say you're already wrong.
Oh my
Because-
goodness.
I mean, everybody has a different process, but for me, it involves, I don't know, I go on Pinterest, I look at my Pinterest board that has castle inspiration. I go on just the internet and I have 3 castles that are near my current house, and I look to find, like, I look up history about those castles, and I try to figure out, like, what era were they built in? Am I making it historically accurate? Am I doing a floor plan? I kind of have to go through, like, systematically all of the thoughts of a castle beforehand. But then other times, it's like wackadoodle mode, and I'm just going into the lot and I'm just building like a crazy person. And I guess when you start with it, you're just starting by laying down boxes, and your boxes do not need to, there isn't a rhyme or reason for castles. They're not like a standalone L-shaped house. They are crazy. They have winding hallways, they have staircases in every corner. You have to imagine really who's living in this castle. That's at least how I would start it.
Okay. Leaf, how about you? If you were to build a castle, how do you start?
Oh, see, that's where I feel like me and Jubie are a little different because Jubie's doing all this like preparation and research, and I just like open The Sims and close my eyes and like let it guide me. But I do have a Pinterest, I have my little inspiration boards, and they do help me, but I feel like in the end, it's a lot like with any build. Unfortunately, I went to art school and it ruined my life in terms of Sims building because everything I build has to have like the perfect composition. It's so bad because I especially with castles, you need the height differences and different like geometry to make it make sense. Otherwise, I just can't do it. So while I do start with boxes, the same as Jubie, I think it's important right after boxes to do roofing because roofing specifically is usually what adds height and difference and interest and also terrain tools, but I'm kind of scared of those, but I try my best.
How has curved walls improved castles, and how do you use curved walls in castles?
Ooh.
I hate curved walls.
Yeah,
I was
they're
trying
not
to build one
real.
last night, and it just doesn't, like, I was trying to build a castle last night that had like all fancy round walls, like your big fancy
Mm.
medieval type castle with big fortress. And I went to go connect, I think, a platform because now I needed the platform to be round to be able to put
Oh,
when you draw, what are they, fencing on top of your what are they called, turrets. So if you, okay, so for those who want to know what I'm babbling about, so essentially what I was doing is I was using the round walls to create turrets, which are like these towers that you attach in a castle. And when you do the towers, I like to build a platform on top of the tower and then use fencing around it to make it do the castle thing, essentially.
that's true.
And
I learned that from you.
yeah, that's how I do that. So last night when I was trying to use the rounded walls, it kept like attaching itself to the big box in the middle for some reason, and it wouldn't connect well, and it made me really mad. So I went back to using octagon rooms because the octagon rooms are a safe bet.
Yeah, octagon rooms have never let me down the way round walls have.
Yeah, round walls are just not. I think for some builders, I've seen a couple people in the last couple days build some really, really cool ass castles with like round walls, and I want to be like them. Like I want to have the no fear involved in using the round wall, but whenever I use it, it just glitches, and I don't want the castle to be too glitchy. I want people to maybe be able to use it. So that's how I feel about round walls. I don't like them. We're not friends.
That's fair. I've only used round walls once, and I was like, this is fucking dumpster garbage. I'm super good. I'm gonna go back, like you said, to your octos. I love my octos. It's just because it's so much nicer for roofing too. If that
Yeah, because
Yes.
they just like connect instantly. Like, I
Yes.
mean, you have the cone roof. The cone roof is a good castle roof, but I prefer the octagon roof because I like the little indents that it makes. I find that it adds a little bit of texture to the build, which is kind of what you need to add when you're building such a huge monstrosity that is a castle, especially on like a 64 by 64 lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've now picked our land. What worlds do you guys typically use for building castles?
Not Windenburg.
What? Really?
No, I know. This is probably not a good thing to say on like my first time here, but I am not a get together stan at all.
So everybody, it's been an absolute pleasure having
No!
that one green leaf on. Unfortunately, she can no longer be on season 3. No. That's fine. That's totally okay. What about Windenburg rubs you the wrong way?
Okay, so that one island in Windenburg I have made peace with. I'm okay with that island, but then like the little town area, I can't get behind the little town area because I don't understand the like smorgasbord of like styles going into it. And then that other neighborhood just has the world's most atrocious lighting that anyone has ever seen on planet Earth. So, yeah, I'm not going to build there.
You're fine. You're totally fine. What world or game pack or expansion pack should be thrown out the window? City living, garbage, fucking nothing. Holds
Ooh,
no.
see, that's controversial.
I know, holds no value to anything I've ever done because as a medieval castle storyteller, I like Windenburg for that reason. It's so universal to me that I can't even imagine. And it also has 2 giant lots, which are amazing. So,
Eh.
I know you're
It's
20
great.
by
What are
15
you
clean.
talking about?
I know. Thank you, Jubie. Okay.
No, I really can't go anywhere bigger than a 50 by 50. That's like the max I'll do.
It's literally 14 more squares around the edges.
Yes.
Okay, and you know what? With math, Jubiesims, that's a lot more tiles, okay?
You just have to landscape it and put a rock, and then it takes up like 12 of the tiles.
And a rock.
Just one rock. Not lots of rocks.
Yeah, no, let's not get carried away.
No, just one giant. Make it as big as you can. Makes no fucking sense. Just pop it in the back. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. See, there you go. Now everybody knows how to build a castle. Just rock, landscape.
Yeah, anyway, we're wrapping things up now.
Okay, so clearly not Windenburg, but what worlds do you ladies usually start building castles in?
So, clearly Windenburg.
Clearly, thank you.
No, I think it's the little island. That's where I build the most because it's just
I'll give you that.
It's it's like the
Same.
best spot. It's just like
It's the best spot in the entire game. I'm sorry, Leaf, you are
No, that lot and me, like, we can be buddies, you know?
You can be cordial. You can like do small talk at like a dinner party.
Respectful.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'll mingle a little, you know?
Oh my God. Okay, Jubie, besides Windenburg, is there anywhere else?
Um, no.
Amazing.
Jubie!
That's all I needed to know. I already love
Like,
get together anyways. So like
I
Oh
yeah,
my god. Since when is this a get together ad? I'm leaving.
every
like
podcast is a
I
get together ad.
I've used the one in Willow Creek a couple times. The Oakenstead lot. I really, really like that lot.
Oh,
It's
that's a
50
good
by
one.
50. Or the
Okay.
park. Willow Creek
Yeah.
Park has really good lighting, except there's
Okay.
this tree whenever you take your picture and the
Oh,
tree just gets in the way. So, other than that, those are like the other two lots, but everything else is like a desert biome, or I will not build in Henford on Bagley. I do not like it.
ew.
It's not a good place. It has gross lighting.
It's so bad.
It's not, I don't know. I like the town area and I like some of the little back smaller lots, but
Hmm.
their 64 by 64 has such bad lighting. It just,
It's
I
so
can't build a
bad.
castle on it. It makes me really sad because I really want to build a castle in the middle of a field.
Yeah, I've got you. That one green leaf. So obviously every build is in Windenburg, but your second favorite place to build, where would it be?
For anything even remotely castle-like or palace-like or medieval-like, instantly Copperdale. Like instant. I just no, don't look at me like that. I just no, because first of all, I do this thing called building for the screenshot. Okay, right? Don't look at the back of any of my builds is what I'm saying. But Copperdale is perfect for that because if you ignore the part that has like the little theme park area, then everything is just so pretty and woodsy and perfect. And you can't tell me that that's not true. Stop looking at me like that.
Sorry, I've just never heard Copperdale used in a sentence before. So
I knew it was coming.
No.
I'm just trying to realize I'm trying to be a positive person and be like, I see that. No, I unfortunately I can't see that. But if that works for you, who is for me to say that it doesn't?
Listen, I sent you pictures of my castles because you asked for them,
I
and
did.
you were like, these are perfect. And they were all in Copperdale, okay?
To be fair, I'm like it has reshade. You could throw anything anywhere. To be honest
Oh,
with
to
you.
be fair, the Copperdale lighting, like in game, is trash. I have lighting mods, so I don't care about that. But you know, I'm not here to talk about being responsible for the lighting of the game. That isn't on me.
That's true. That's a completely different podcast for a game developer, which I would love to have on here one day. I feel like they would expect me to be like, so like you're amazing. I'd be like, so why does this game break every time you do anything? Love the fucking community. Just wondering.
Why is this
Tell
game
me why my
broken?
4 a.m. castle broke this morning.
What?
Yeah, when I was building, okay, so story time for, I don't think they were here when I told this story. I
Oh.
woke up at 3:30 in the morning this morning and I built a castle because that's what I do with my life. And unfortunately for me, I went to go save my game and got a never-ending spinny wheel. So if
Oh,
there's
that's the
one tip
worst.
that I can give to the castle builders out there that are currently living in this current era of the
Save.
game doesn't work. Make sure you save your game after every single detail that you add. Like after you build your thing, after you do the terrain, after you do the landscaping, save the game because I've lost so many things in the last few weeks and it's like it's a little heartbreaking to like think of all the stuff I've lost, but just keep saving. Just keep saving. Just keep saving.
It's been brutal ever since like December with the crashing and the freezing. And in between then and now, I have built two castles, and both times I have lost probably hours of progress. And it sucks because castles are big.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
it's pretty bad right now. So save your game. That's, yeah.
definitely good advice. Save your game. Okay. We've now picked our world. We've now picked our lots. We now put some boxes down. We put some roofs down. Talk to me about how's the landscaping going? What landscaping tools do you use? And obviously the pale yellow flower.
Oh,
I was gonna say, do
classic.
you know what I'm gonna say?
How many of them are placed?
Roughly 200.
Perfect.
You should count one time, like for science.
Oh, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do today when I go back into my
Yeah.
lot on my 64 by 64. I'm gonna count them and I'll return. I'll
Check
return
out
next
Jubie on
time
her
and let you
socials
guys
for the
know.
answers.
Oh my God. Okay. So talk to me about where are we going now? Like, so we're decorating. Ladies, it's up. Jubie, you go first.
Okay, so I guess what I would do is we talked about this on the last time, how I do terrain. And I do terrain, I guess, a little bit differently than people. I raise my build first to the height that I think I want it at, and then I do the terrain around it. And we
Yeah.
use the raise to height tool, which is the fourth tool in on the terrain tools menu. I've learned that now. So you raise it to the height you want, you flatten the area, or like the area around your build, and then I have Better Build Buy for debug. And I use a
Yes.
lot of debug flowers because they're just a little bit nicer. But that pale low-lying plant, of course. Um, but I also use like these big long rocks that you can find. They don't have names. They're
Oh,
just
I know
called
the ones you
debug.
mean.
Yeah, they're just big debug rocks that they kind of. This is gonna sound bad, but they kind of look like pieces of poop.
Oh, okay. No, you're not. Honestly, you're not wrong. I'm looking
not
at
wrong.
one right now.
Like, I know it's not a bad. Yeah, okay, move on. So essentially, those rocks are what I use to like line around the hill of my castle. And then if you were to build a moat, right? So you use your terrain tool and you lower the terrain, and then around your hill, it might not be accessible to like walk into the castle, but there's this really awesome thing in The Sims called cheats. And you can turn those on, and then you only have to shift click in an area, and then you can teleport your sim anywhere, and it's a magical
Amazing.
thing. So that's how I use my castles. If I were to use them, is I would just teleport sims into the castle because I like the outside to be grand and exciting and usually on a hill surrounded by trees and rocks. So there's rocks that I would put down, and then after that I would probably start adding trees. And when I add trees, I like the ones from, what is it, the camping pack,
Outdoor treat?
outdoor retreat. Yeah, there's like some big tall trees in that one that I love using, and I'll surround my castles with trees to make them look like they're in a little forest. Yeah, that's kind of how I do landscaping: rocks, trees, low-lying pale yellow flower plant.
And then little tiny mountains, tiny terrain, little stuff going
Yeah,
by.
tiny little terrain mountains, like raise your height. You really don't need to raise your build if you don't want to. You could leave it flat on the ground. You don't need to
Yeah.
climb into a castle.
You don't?
No, surprisingly.
It's so Rapunzel.
Leaf, how about you? How do you start? You've now got everything placed. How do you start decorating the outsides?
For the outside, I it depends if I'm feeling brave enough for terrain that day. Because if I am, I do the same thing as Jubie, obviously, because she taught me that. See, this was a bad thing because you brought me here and all my answers will be like, yeah, I learned that from Jubie, so I did this.
But you do
But
things
anyway,
differently than me. You interpret them differently. It works.
yeah, the vibes are different. But I think I rely a lot on like fences and instead of rocks, I think fences and I guess debug walls, which I consider fences too, are kind of more what I do. And I do fence layering so much. So if there's stairs and then there's like a fence next to the stairs, but then you could put a tinier fence next to the fence that's next to the stairs and like put a hedge in it, and then it just looks so much more advanced. That's my secret. Is just double fences all the time for no reason. And like some you can get wild and do three next to each other in like varying heights. You go like tall, medium, short. And then it's just good. But yeah, I sorry, I went on a little tangent there. Anyway, I specifically use the rock formation debug thing from Cats and Dogs because
Oh,
that
yeah.
one it doesn't clip into the terrain. So if you're raising the terrain and then you place a debug rock on it, usually it'll like go up and down and like not place where you want it to. But the Cats and Dogs one just sinks into it. It's so good. It's the best.
You're not wrong. Just that pack itself is amazing, minus the cats and dog part of the storytelling, but like the build,
Yeah.
buy, and debug
No,
are
it's great.
is second to none in my personal opinion. See, okay, so that's really good. Now let's talk about how we add our water. How do you guys do you just like do you add your water before you do this, or do you find empty space? It's like, I'm just gonna throw a pond here.
Jubie taught me to do it after because the game will just get mad at you and lag if you place the water first and then have all these other things. So I just do it after. But I leave the hole. I leave the hole for it. I like have a place for it. Like it's invited later, but not now.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. It's like literally the same thing. If you build if you build the castle, you have your shell, you've roofed it, you've raised it up off the ground a little bit, and then you do your terrain work around it. I'll do the lower terrain tool, and you just kind of lower your terrain, and then I'll do flatten to height again, and I'll flatten the bottom of my river.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I love building a river that's like if you raise all of the terrain on the entire lot, and then you build a river right behind your castle at the same height of your castle, and then you go down to the front and you kind of lower the terrain, flatten it a teeny tiny bit, you can actually build a second river in the front. So you can get two tiers of rivers, and then when you go to take your screenshots, it looks like you have a cascading waterfall in your Sims build.
Oh, let's go.
And
Strategy.
that's,
Yeah.
but also don't add the water until the end of the build because it does make it really laggy.
Yeah.
I second that.
So I got more. So we've got our outside now. Something that I've struggled with when I started making castles many moons ago was getting the right height between towers. Some towers,
Mm.
I always found my towers got lost, especially in the back. So how do you guys focus on your towers, and how do you make them super tall or super short?
um, for me personally, all of my towers have to be about 3.5 tiles apart.
Oh my goodness.
um,
I didn't know you had like like a formula for this.
I I have built so many castles that I have like a specific way that I like things to work now because it is true. Like you want there to be the height difference. I think I've talked about it on this podcast before, but the rule of thirds is
Mm-hmm.
also a big thing that I take
Oh,
in.
beautiful.
Um, it's like the golden rule or something like that. Like there's just different rules that like I take in, and you have to have one tower. Like if I just built a castle that had 3 towers, and they all were about 3 spaces apart from one another. They were on a slight curve, so they kind of like almost like spiral staircase type situation. And each of them was about a little bit over half or a little under half taller than each other. So if you do that, it's just like rule of thirds. You should have 3 towers. All of them should be at varying heights. If you're going to do like a fortress, that's a different situation. That is 4 towers all around the build, probably the same height. But if you're doing like a fun fantasy castle, like you have to imagine pixies, okay? And they're throwing fairy dust at your castle.
Oh.
And you want the fairy dust to bounce all over the place. And if everything is at a stagnant, same height, it's not going to bounce very pretty. It's just going to scatter. But if you put everything at different levels and you vary it, everything's going to bounce a little bit nicer. Um, that's how my brain works. But the other little tip that I have is you can take landscaping. And landscaping is your helpful friend at this point because you can build one single tower on its own, and then you can, like, do not attach it to your full build. And then you can take that tower and you can rise it up so it's taller than absolutely everything else. And you can do this with multiple buildings in The Sims. So they all look like they're at varying heights. But I find that I often will do that and add like a fourth or fifth tower in the back, and it's like really towering kind of thing over everything else. But yeah, that's kind of how that's how I would add a tower.
Okay.
Just little things.
So what's your wall height? Is everything in castles always a large?
Tall
No.
wall.
Tall.
Absolutely not.
Every time, tall wall.
Okay, see, this is me finding out I'm scared of tall walls and large lots, and maybe I just have a fear of large objects, but that's okay. I am a big fan of the medium wall height. I think that the tall wall height can sometimes become overwhelming with the amount of space on it. I think that if you're like, I'm somebody who's pretty detail focused on like the tiniest little spaces, and if I see a large wall, I'm like, what do I do with that space? So I tend to just go for the medium ones at least, because then you can put the freezes on them, and I will sacrifice using a big space to use freezes because they slap. So that's important.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm just
that's
getting
kinda
used
like-
to it slaps. I don't think I've ever heard.
Sorry, I say that all the time.
Say less. Oh my God. Sorry, Jubie, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say medium wall heights are good. The only reason I like the tall wall height is because it gives me the most space. Like it gives me like I'm painting a picture on my walls and I need space. If I get medium, I can do medium, but it's just too crowded. I'm like, I want my window to be a little bit higher than my door frame or a little bit lower, and I can't do that if there's now a freeze in the way. And also, if you've ever used the freezes, those things that like wrap around the build, they are like real chonky when you get
Oh
to the
yeah,
upper
some of them are
level
huge.
ones. And you need that third level. There's a reason that it's restricted. You have to have the third level to do it because there's this one white one that before we got the castle pack, I was like able to use quite a bit. And it does a really good job of like making it look like a castle. Actually, I'm going to go use it today because now it's reminded me that I want to build with it.
Great.
So it's one of those things that like you can just, I don't know, like tall walls allows for a lot more space. And when you're looking at a castle, in my opinion, it's this big behemoth of a build, and tall walls seems to like work out really well for that. But I've definitely built a medium wall height castle, and I do agree they are nice, but a small wall height, no, can't do it. I mean, you can do it. I can't do it.
It's like, Jubie, can I challenge you to only use small walls in your castle?
I will cry the entire time I build it, but I will try it now.
But that's a challenge though, to step outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, Jubie.
Okay, fine. I'm making my to-do list for today when I'm building my 5 other castles.
I think how you can hear her writing it down.
Like, fuck Stassi, stupid challenging me. I'll fucking show her. I'll make the best fucking small wall castle to ever fucking exist. Look,
You've ignited fight mode.
Jubie, you should tag her when you post it.
please
I
do.
will.
Please do. That's the reason I asked about wall sizes. I know when builders are starting off, they're a little scared to use the tall walls because inside it's massive, right? Like, what do you do with all the empty space at the top? But the more comfortable you get, you kind of have a better idea of how to design the inside. But castles, I've only ever built a castle with large walls. I've never tried to do a small wall castle because it never would have made sense. I'm also not the best builder. So I'm very curious to see the Queen of Castles make a castle with only small walls.
I'll do it.
You're
Only
gonna
because now I'm thinking about it a lot.
your computer will shoot on at like 4 in the morning. You'll message me like tomorrow at 10 being like, see? Fine.
See, I think especially with the new kit, like I've only done one build with the new kit so far, and it has small walls. Sorry, Jubie. But
Oh, okay.
but I think that for this kit specifically, it's kind of made for bigger walls because like that one, it kind of, the one thing that looks like a half wall fence, like the really chonky one, the square one. I don't know
Yes.
the actual term for that, but um it's so big. Like I placed it down on my small wall and I was like, that is ginormous. I've never that's huge. And so I eventually made it work by putting something next to it that was tall so that it would look normal, but see, there it is. It's balancing short things with small things. So if I have a tall wall, I'm gonna put something short on top, and if I have a short one, I'm gonna put something tall on it. It's all about balance.
Jubie, you're getting called out, my friend.
I am so aware of that right now.
Oh my god. Okay, so now we got our wall heights and we got everything. And until 2 days ago, we didn't have the castle kit. Now we do have this. We are saving that conversation to the end of this podcast. What doors and windows did you use before this kit came out?
Everything from Discover University. That is a top tier pack, in my opinion, for castle builders. And
That's a good
also,
answer.
that's like, that's all I used. The one door that they had for tall wall height, all of the windows. There's just one little curved window that's like so cute and tiny, and you put it on your castle towers and you can wind it around. It's beautiful. And then there are all these other windows and they all match and they all have the same bricks and they have like
Oh
white
yeah.
and dark palettes. So like you can really make any kind of castle you want. And all you really need is Discover University. Like really. I could now I want to make a base game in Discover University Castle because this is you can really make just that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of using wedding stories for castles. I think
Oh
that,
yeah.
yeah, no, the door is like perfect. Like every door that came with that pack is just perfect for castles, and it comes in lots of colors, but the browns don't match anything, so just FYI. I mean, why
Yeah.
would they match? Why would they match?
Yeah, no. They
No.
definitely don't match.
No,
But
no,
that's another good answer is that pack. It is a really good pack for building castles.
see, I like Realm of Magic because I like especially for a fantasy castle, the doors and the stained glass windows.
Ooh,
Well,
stained
yeah,
glass.
if you're doing okay, so this is like this okay, so University is a good basic castle starting pack, right? But then you could get into like the more cottage core type castles or like
Mm-hmm.
the um I can't think of the name of it, but there's a place in I want to say the UK that has a bunch of really cool castle looking buildings, but they're not castles. But like you could use cottage living. Cottage living has a ton of different windows and things that are really awesome for that as well. But also there is things like Realm of Magic. Like I love Realm of Magic when I'm building a castle because it makes it so fun and fantasy, and I love a good stained glass. Um, yeah, there's actually quite a few packs. It really depends on what the castle is. Like Get Together has a really good amount of stuff too, like their
Mm-hmm.
windows. Um, Even
Hmm.
base game has honestly some good stuff. Base game is fine. Like I just built a
Yeah,
base game
see,
castle the other day.
me and
So
Jubie are always talking about this. We're like, base game is good. There are good things in base. Sorry, I'm clapping about this. Base game is good. There are good things in base game. You can honestly do anything with base game if you like think about it and pair the right objects together. See, you're looking at me again.
Okay, for building, sure. But I'm talking you for a terrain, you have to spend $60. If you want a dog, you got to spend another
Okay,
$60.
yeah, yeah, we're not gonna talk about EA being greedy right now, but
What? It's my favorite topic. Daddy EA. Daddy EA doesn't want to make me an affiliate. Daddy EA doesn't want to make me an affiliate, so I can say whatever I want as a problem child. Okay, okay, so building, I will get for a base level building, you do get a lot of stuff. However, if you want to take your builds to the next level and start having more options, you will have to start buying packs.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
I
basically.
mean, like with base game, you kind of have to fight it to get it to look the way you want. It's a little easier to do if you have like the specific niche of the thing you're wanting to build. But base game, you do kind of like, you know, maybe combine some objects like really close together that you wouldn't think of to make something look like something it's not, like making weird window combinations to make the windows look bigger because God knows the windows in base game are not it, but that's fine. You can make it work. You can make it work. I do love base game, but you do have to work for it.
The thing is, I don't want to work for it. I just want to hand it to me. I would be like, I want fucking stained glass windows and my brick walls from cottage living. Okay, that's all I need. Those are my two. Every single build I have is brick wall. Doesn't matter. You're in the middle of fucking nowhere, brick wall. I like every kitchen has brick wall. Don't know why. I just love brick wall. Okay, so anyways, we now got our doors and our windows. Talk to me about the vines and the greenery surrounding your castle. What ones do you select?
I do. So if you go into, you have to enter the debug menu. So testing sheets true or on, whichever one you use. And then bb.show hidden objects and bb.show live edit objects. And then after that, you go into your search bar and you go ** space debug, and then you should get a big list of all of your debug items. And then you're going to sort, I think you can sort debug items by pack. And you can do that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can without Better Build By. But you're going to do that, and then you're going to select Discover University.
Of course.
Because that's where they all come from. Like literally all of the good vines are in Discover University, and you can size them up and down. They change with the seasons. But you can also use Cottage Living, came with a ton of good wisteria and good packs. There's also some in Get Together that are really good. Yeah, there's like, those are my top 3, I think. I think Vampires as well has some good stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Depending, especially if you're going for like an older castle that's been abandoned for a long time, and you have the dead veins. Oh my God, our vines. I love the dead vines. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. Leaf, how about you?
For me, I feel like I'm less about like I don't need them to look like actual vines. So I do a lot of using, I guess, like actual landscaping, like shrubs and things, and then sizing them down with the square bracket key and then raising them periodically to make it look like it's like flowing on top of the roof. So raising it and lowering with 9 and 0. This is me thinking about, I don't know which one's which without actually opening the game, but that's okay. And if you keep lifting them up to a certain kind of, there's a stupid math word I'm not thinking of right now. like, you know, the slope.
Angle.
Slope.
Okay, what's it called? Like, you know, those little graphs where it's like it has
protractor.
Like the 4 corners. Protractor, and then one of them is just like it's like curved, you know?
Yes, I completely know what you're talking.
My soul just left my body. I unfortunately don't know what you're talking about, as I was not.
Okay, well, anyway, I'll just say slope because that gets what it is anyway. And so if you raise one bush by 1, and then you can raise the next one by 2, and then the next one by 3, and so on, you can get it to where it looks more natural, and then it also helps if you're rotating them along the way so that it doesn't look like a repetitive little plant, because that will kind of steal the illusion away if you're not rotating your landscaping that you're putting right next to each other. And sometimes I care if the landscaping, like when I do this, clips into the build. Sometimes I don't. But it's fine if you care about it clipping. It's easy enough to not get it to clip. You just have to take it further away from the build. It depends on the angle whether that looks like ideal, but it still works.
Amazing. Amazing advice. I'm still trying to sort out the math tool.
Oh my god, I need to Google it right now.
I was
Google
going
it.
to say you could just use geometry.
That too.
That's kind of a, I want to say, an overarching word.
Okay.
How am I supposed to Google this if I don't know what I'm Googling? I opened Google and I was like, wait.
Just describe it, whatever it is, and then we can
We'll
Google-
throw words at you.
just throw word, and then it'll be like, "Are you talking about this?" And it'll be like, "Yeah," and you'll be like, "Perfect." So while Leaf is doing that, so we've gotten our castle. What, Jubie, what final touches do you add to the outside of your castle?
Roofing touches. Add things to your roof pitches. Those are the top of your triangles of your roofs.
Okay.
So whenever I do my roofing, I always love to add, they're in Get Together, they're in Strangerville, these little tiny roof ornaments.
Yes.
And you can add them across the pitches of all your roofs. It makes the build so much prettier. I have one build that's my desktop background, and it's one of my favorite castles I've ever built. But the only thing I didn't do was I didn't add anything to my roofs. And I stare at this castle every day of my life and I go, I really wish I added more roofing things to this. So if there's one recommendation, it's adding roofing pitches, make them pointy, add your ornaments, and then also add columns to all of the edges of your turrets, because I find that adds a lot of dimension to your builds. And then, just clutter it with some plants and some flowers and grasses and moss and ivy, and like, imagine there's a caretaker. Maybe the caretaker had a lazy day and forgot to take care of the west wing, and there's a little bit more moss growing over there than usual. Like, you just kind of have to look at your castle as if you're living in it. It's your castle, you're literally building it. That's kind of how I do my final touches.
Very nice. Leaf, how about you?
The word I was looking for was parabola. Oh my god, parabolatic curve. Yep. No, you can
I
write
wasn't
that
gonna
one
know
down.
Yeah, in a million, you could have given me a billion simoleons. I would have been like, I fucking even know what that means. I don't know.
I don't know what. Like, I got possessed by my grade 9 math teacher. I guess, like, I don't know what happened. But anyway, roof decor is like my absolute favorite thing in the entire world. And if base game is missing one thing, it's roof decor. And that is just so upsetting, because especially in a castle, if you just throw things down on a roof, it makes things look so much more dynamic, and asymmetric builds I really like them. I don't do symmetrical builds, so I think roof decor can help make a build look more asymmetrical in like a compositionally sound way. Ew, that sentence was so nasty. Sound like my art prof at school. Yeah, no, that's very compositionally sound. I appreciate that. That's very good.
Amazing. Okay. Now we've come to talk about castles, guys. Yay! About the castle kit. As this kit came out 2 days ago, it was a community voted kit that we voted for. I believe it was early last year when the vote went out, and Castles and Goth clearly got the best, like the most selected. I was literally screaming at people, you have to vote Castles and Goth.
Me too.
I don't know who, like, I don't give a fuck who the fuck wants futuristic and bright pink? Okay? You're in the wrong universe.
Is that what it was? I didn't even remember that.
It was futuristic in castles, and it was pastel pinks or goth. And obviously, I would say Sims players are pretty eclectic. Just throwing that out there. I think we're gonna go for castles and goth. I'm just a little more closer to home. Now, before I tell you guys my thoughts on this pack, and I'd like to take the asterisks. As this is being filmed, I do not own either kit. I have not played with either kit. I am only going by what I have seen builds previously done, like Kevin's, who was absolutely amazing, and other Sims builders out there, and what the items have themselves. That is my asterisk to my personal opinion. Jubie, Leaf, you ladies go.
Okay, so I love it.
Wow, the castle queen likes the castle kid. How about that?
Shocker.
Did we really think there'd be anything different? Like, I literally waited for this pack. So yeah, no, I like the second we got the codes, which was for me yesterday morning at 7:30 in the morning. I had to leave my house at 8 a.m. to get to work for 8:30 a.m. And I got the notification on Discord and I ran to my PC faster than I could have ever imagined, downloaded the kit, and started decorating. And then my boyfriend came home from work and it was literally almost 8 a.m. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Playing The Sims. Why are you asking me this question?" But yeah, no, I think it's a very niche pack. I will say that. I will also say that the amount of people I have seen on my timelines that are like, "I never would build a castle, blah, blah, blah," and now they're all building castles. It's been 2 days, and I can see all of you building castles, and this isn't to be snarky. This is literally just, it's really fucking cool to see people finally building castles with me, because I've been enjoying it for like a solid 2.5 years at least, and people are just like, "Jubie, how do you build that? I don't know how to build a castle. I would never build a castle." And I'm like, now you have a kit that literally builds the castle for you. If you use every single item in this kit and you put it on a box, it's a castle. Like, that's the coolest thing about this kit. So I don't know. I really like it. I think the items are really high quality. I love the moss that they included. That's like, it has my whole soul, is this little tiny mossiness. The gargoyles, they're kind of cool. I haven't really used them. And then there's that one crest type thing. But I really like the freezes. The freezes that they gave me. Because I love the pack so much.
They gave this to Jubie. This is for Jubie.
This is, I don't know. I'm like, it's I guess for people like me who enjoy niche building type things, it's a really exciting pack to have.
Amazing.
Those are my thoughts.
Leaf, how about you?
I like it. I think that it does have like less objects than I thought maybe it would, because I feel like kits, apart from the modern Lux kit, I feel like the past few kits we've gotten have had less objects than I would have anticipated. That's why I have beef with the clutter kit, because it just doesn't come with that much stuff. Like, the stuff is great, but it doesn't come with that much. And it's the same with this. It just doesn't come with that much stuff. But I feel like with exteriors, you don't necessarily need a ton of stuff, but it would still be nice, considering that you are paying for it, and you hopefully want to pay for good things in your game. But I think that the build things are so high quality, it's unreal. As someone who makes custom content, I have like a big love for high quality textures in objects in this game, because often when making things, you borrow textures from other parts of the game, and it is always such a nice surprise when they are high quality. Like, you can zoom in to the objects on this, like the little mossy things, they're so high detail. I love them. I think that a lot of items are good in general for like, you know, a far away screenshot, but for this one, you could zoom in all the way and still make it like a banger screenshot. That's how good that's how good the textures are.
First you got slap it, and now you throw bangers in there. Sorry. Um, I unfortunately I can't comment because I have not seen the textures come to life. I've heard about them. Cav has talked to me about them. Here is the issue I have with this kit, and Leaf kind of touched upon it. It seems really thin. Here's
Yeah.
the thing that there's no furniture and there's no drawbridge. Like, okay, so it's a kit, fine. It has lighter things, but when I think of a castle, and especially if they're going on the more medieval side of these castles, that's what they gave us. I immediately think a drawbridge. No drawbridge, right, ladies?
No, I would have loved a drawbridge. I think you still like if you want a drawbridge, you still have to make one with tool mod, and that sucks for, you know, people who maybe don't love tool mod or play on console.
Right. Here's something else that's missing. The greenery. This would have been an amazing pack instead of having to get Discover University, vampires, werewolves. That's like $100 bill right there to be able to have proper greenery and vines. To me,
Oh, so it's the vines you're thinking of here?
yeah, like the vines and like the architecture of like the flowers and stuff that goes on an old abandoned castle
Okay,
or an
gotcha.
old castle. That's missing. Where is an updated armor person?
Oh
Or
my gosh, I at
where,
least want more swatches. I was thinking about that last night. I was like, where are the swatches? There are three, and one of them is like pea yellow, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this?
right? And I know before we started, I said that this pack is not a standalone pack if both you ladies came for me. This is not a standalone pack. Every item, we talked about this before. Obviously, we talked about castles at the end, but you needed other items. Yes, you could make a beautiful castle with base game and this, for sure. But where's the furniture? Where's the storytelling that's missing from this small little kit? I don't know. I feel like something that the community voted for this. Like we wanted this. And EA said, "We'll give it to you, but you got to wait a year." And we all patiently waited. I just
I
wish
did
it
not wait patiently for this. I'm just going to say that
Jubie's
right
like,
now.
let the record show I was
Okay.
not patient.
Okay, but like I wish it wasn't a kit. I wish it was a game pack. And people are also confused because they thought it was going to be like The Sims Medieval. It's not The Sims Medieval, but they had the opportunity to make it a Sims Medieval. Could you imagine if it was like a vacation world and you could go to a world that was designed specifically just for castles?
See, I would love that, and it sucks because it all comes down to what niche would get the most money, you know?
Pretty sure castles and Sims kind of go hand in hand as we're mostly Disney adults and like Harry Potter.
Stop. Don't say that.
But like I would have a hard time using base game and this pack to build Hogwarts. I don't think I could.
New challenge entered into the novel of things to do.
But to get the full effect of a castle, you would need to use other packs, in my opinion.
Like I think I think it's a great pack. I do think it's a great pack on its own. If you are like honestly, if you're building a smaller castle, like if you need a castle and you're like, "Hey, I don't know how to build one." I think this pack is a great first castle builders pack. Like it is your training wheels, so to say. And then as you get kind of, I don't know, a little more like adept with building, you you eventually want to branch out and do other things. So I would say at that point, then yes, you could go and get the other packs. But for now, I think if you're beginner to The Sims, you don't want to break the bank, I think this is a great first pack for like first builders. And then if you choose to get more like, hey, I really want to do like a massive Hogwarts castle build, then unfortunately the world is not free. I wish it was. I really wish that all of this stuff was just easily more accessible for a lot of people who want to go into the building realm, because I'm very fortunate that I have all of the packs. I know not everybody does. Um, but I think this one, for example, would be a great first starter pack for somebody if they're just wanting to dip their toes in the water.
Leaf, how about you?
Uh, I feel like one thing about it is that, you know, you can have base game and whatever this pack is called, castle estate kit castles, like you can have that, and you know, if you're looking at just your build, like they can look amazing, but there's there are not spaces for it in the base game worlds. Like there, I can think of one that you could look around the complete landscape of the area and think, yeah, okay, maybe a castle makes sense there, and it's the 50 by 50 park in Willow Creek. But other than that, you like look around and there's like apartment buildings in the background and like modern houses, and then in Oasis Springs there's like, you know, this like really spicy modern landscaping. And so it just it just looks like, what is that place called in America? A White Castle restaurant?
Yes, precisely.
I'm Canadian, so I don't actually know if that's the
Wait,
law,
you're
but like,
shit, I didn't realize you were Canadian.
yeah.
Welcome to an all three Canadian podcast here.
Oh my god! Oh, Canada!
Okay, what part of Canada are you from?
Ontario.
Oh, same.
Oh my god, we're
Forgot-
neighbors.
Okay, like what part of Ontario?
Like Toronto-ish area.
Oh, so I'm like an hour and a half away from you.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I'm in Kitchener.
Oh my god! No way!
There we go, guys. We're that close to each other. We've been chatting for like an hour and change. Also, I don't live there. Please, no one try to find me. I have to start getting better at not naming cities I live in. Well, there you go. Again, love talking to Canadian
The
simmers.
more you know.
More, exactly. Because as soon as you said American, I'm like, dude, aren't you American? Like,
No.
No, you're right, but it kind of has like that White Castle kind of campy vibe, or like the castle in Vegas, like the hotel. Campy.
Yeah, or like medieval times, you know? It doesn't look like it fits unless you do some things to look like it make it fit. Or like if you're taking screenshots, you know, it's fine, you can edit them, but if you're playing the game with the new kit and base game, it really looks out of place, especially on any other lot but the 250 by 50s. Like that's all you really have. And if you want to start, you know, with a slightly less overwhelming undertaking, so like, you know, a 30 by 20 or a 30 by 40, then you're gonna have buildings that don't make sense around, and the roads like with crosswalks and stop signs, and it just looks a little silly.
A little bit. Just a little bit. But I think at the end of the day, I don't think The Sims is going to give us like a medieval world. And if they did, fuck them at this point for releasing this kit. But for releasing this kit, I mean, they did the same thing with 2 years ago with Country Kitchen. They're like, here's a country kitchen, and then they bring out cottage core or cottage living. And I'm like, okay, so we all bought this kit because we didn't think you were gonna give us anything like a cottage, like a country kitchen. Now we have a whole world and you use the same items. Do I get my money back? Because it's the same thing. So I guess what I'm kind of hoping is, I hope they do give us like a medieval world one day. But when they do, I want it like, don't include these, or include these items in here, but also then make them better, and also be like, hey, we're just gonna give you the, or give this to us as a free kit, because The Sims at Christmas time started doing like a free first pet. That's the only reason I have first pet.
Yeah.
They were doing stuff like that. I don't know. To me, as someone who loves castles, I would say this is pretty skippable. It doesn't hold any value for me at this time. because I feel like there's still more to be had, and I would rather save my $10. So whenever they put out fucking fairies or
I
whatever's
mean,
next, I would then hope that this kind of level would also be there.
it feels likely that something similar-ish to that is coming, at least with like somewhat of a similar vibe because of that little like teaser thing that we got with the jewels and the
Mhm.
gnomes. Like the gnome is sus. The gnome is so sus in that little trailer. I'm like, what
Also,
do you mean?
one of the sim gurus a number of months ago, Sim Guru Nova,
Mhm.
Of course it
um,
was Nova.
tweeted something about having something in the last couple packs, I think it was, and we haven't found it yet, but there's a clue to what is coming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everybody was like, well, you gave us princesses and pirates in teddy bear versions. You gave us and that was like if you think about the Sims 4 or the Sims Medieval, sorry,
Mhm.
it was there is pirates in it
Mhm.
and there is princesses. So I like to think that we are getting either a medieval kit, like not a medieval kit, but like a medieval game pack,
Yeah.
stuff pack, expansion, maybe. I don't know if they would do an expansion. It would be nice if they did, but I think they would more go towards a game pack or a stuff pack. But who knows? The stuff packs are getting slightly better. So maybe this stuff pack will slap, like Leaf likes to say.
I would sell my left kidney for a pirate pack.
Same. As a Pirates of the Caribbean girl, I would fucking lose my mind to not
Oh
only to
my god.
bring in pirates, but also bring in the Caribbean lifestyle. I would love to see that and the proper representation of those islands.
And we could have more lots like the ones in Sulani, the water ones. I think
Mhm.
they gave us them one time and they were like, sorry, bye.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
right? So like I think there's more stuff. I think this is just a snippet just but for me it's a miss. I mean, you ladies are like it's a hit, best kid ever.
Okay, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa. Fine. What is the best kid ever in your opinion, Leaf?
What is that one called? Courtyard Oasis. I love that one.
Oh, that's a sleeper hit, in my opinion. I didn't realize
Desert
till
Lux is also good.
I think was that the free one that they gave us?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. Um, very niche items. The thing is all of these kits I would want worlds for. I continuously
Oh, I
hoping I want
know.
more diversity. It's been nice the last couple expansion packs we've gotten. We've had different representations and cultures represented. However, I'd like to continue to see more of that.
Yeah,
And no
seriously,
more
African
Western,
World when?
right? No more
Hmm.
Western-based worlds. I'm tired of Western-based stuff. Give me other cultures so I can educate myself on other
Because they
cultures.
all look like San Sequoia. If I get one more world that looks like San Sequoia, I'm gonna barf. Like, I can't deal with it. They just keep giving them. I remember when the trailer for Growing Together came out, and I was like, that is just Willow Creek and Tartosa together. Like, that's
Yeah.
all that is.
So again, I want like again, I'm not excited. I'm just like, two more kits. If I win them, great. If I don't, no loss in
They're
my
releasing so many kits. Like, so many like for every pack that comes out there's literally 4 kits and that's not even an exaggeration.
Oh, I know. They're going tit for tat with Marble to how they're pushing out content, right? They're pushing out content so quickly. Is it good content? Sure. I'm sure some of it's good. But they're just more like, we gotta make money. We gotta get things out. Where I would like one kit a year, one stuff pack, one game pack, and we can do an expansion either every year or every other year or every 18 months. I'm fine with that because it's also more better on my wallet. So,
Fair enough. They are, especially like the Canadian dollar is kind of ass right now, so um,
uh,
so they're really expensive.
mm-hmm. It's not fucking $39 here, I'll tell you that for an
Yeah,
expansion pack.
okay, Americans, watch your back.
I know. It's like it was 75
It's so
with
expensive.
tax. What they for
It's
the
the price of Baldur's Gate 3. What is with that?
right? Like what other
Uh,
franchise in the world you pay $1,000 for DLC?
It's so expensive.
It's so expensive, right? Anyways, not a podcast for this. We're here to talk about castles. I think this is a perfect place to wrap us up for castles. Jubie, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Um, life's what you make it, so let's make it rock.
Oh, what you make.
Precisely. But I was going to go in more of the album, like more of I just had that quote in my head and I was going with it. But essentially if you want to build a castle, just build a castle.
Yeah.
Like it's your castle. You get to build it. You get to, if you want to make it really windy and weird and there's turrets everywhere and there's a million different boxes and you're terrified to roof it, the fun thing about a castle is that you can throw a fence on top of it and it's roofed. You don't need a roof. You can just put fences on it. So you can do that. You can also use half walls. I love using half walls. So you use one half wall and then you go skip a half wall and then use the next one and you kind of alternate them. You can make your own fence like that. But that's my last little tidbit is it's your castle and at the end of the day you should be happy with it. And if you're not happy with it, then that's problem number one. So just do what makes you happy and build the castle of your dreams. That's all.
That's beautiful.
Amazing. Leaf, how about you? Any final advice or anything?
I think that, like, here and elsewhere, I've seen people make very valid critiques about this kit and every kit that comes out in every pack for that matter. But I think that it doesn't excuse being mean. Like if you don't like a kit, especially because some people just get so like aggressive about the fact that a kit maybe isn't their preference. Like I understand the fact that like we want everything to be base game, like, oh, this should have been base game, this should have been base game, but at the end of the day it is a company, which sucks. Like, trust me, I don't want to fund corporations as much as the next person, but in this economy, that's it still doesn't excuse being a mean person. Like, get the kid or don't. It'll be okay. You'll be fine.
Right. The world will turn. Okay, here's a good example. Do you ladies like, I think it's Home Chef game? Yeah, game no, stuff pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's yeah.
I would rank that S tier, have to have that. Why? Because I'm a chef. I'm biased.
There you go.
I'm biased. I'm a chef. I like this pack.
See, and that to me is C tier.
Right?
But that's because I don't build modern kitchens.
You don't build modern kitchens. To me, sad swatches of yay, we have moss. That's great. Holds no additional value to me. But I can have multiple different spice racks in a modern kitchen. Now you're fucking flirting with me, EA, right? So like, it is to each their own. Is kind of what Leaf was saying, and it's what you want out of it. And nobody is gonna have the same wants out of every pack that you may want. And you may disagree, but like as Leaf said, don't be violent and malicious. Like I posted this week of like, here's all the items, and just watching people fight in the comments is amusing, and B, it's a fucking game. Like it's a game. Just don't play it if it annoys you.
Like, it's a game from 2014. You'll be okay. Like, you'll be fine.
They're literally just pixels. It's fine.
Yes. Buy the castle pack if you don't. If you like castles, you have an extra $10 to spend, go fucking buy it. If you don't have an extra $10 to spend and you don't like castles, don't buy it. I mean, that's how I would put it. And I think that's where we definitely have to wrap up because we'll continue talking. Jubie, that one green leaf, thank you so much for coming here today. Jubie, where can we find you?
You can find me on all the socials at Jubiesims. You can also find me, who runs the Builder Games. You can find the Builder Games on Twitter, Instagram, and Discord. You can join our Discord. Season 5. Yes, season 5 has already started. So you can follow all the shenanigans for that at TS4 Builder Games.
Amazing. And anybody listening to this podcast, please go listen to the episode that came out on Sunday where I sit down with Jubie and we talk about the 5th season of the Builder games. That One Green Leaf, where can we find you?
You can find me at That One Green Leaf on Twitch and YouTube and TikTok. I mostly do Twitch. I build too much. I build too much. And Instagram is That One Green Leaf _, and Twitter is that, and then it's like the number 1 green leaf, because Twitter wouldn't let me have my handle because it was too long. So F's in the chat for me, I guess.
Amazing. Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming here today. Before I actually plug everything, hi everyone. Are you ready to see me on Twitch for the first time? Well, come tonight as I will be joined by Alex, Gons, and Nardvillain as we do a Twitch stream together. Not nervous or scared at all.
Oh my god.
So please
So
go check that
exciting!
out. We are doing a Sims draft challenges for the next couple weeks, so please stay tuned for that. If you like this podcast, please consider liking and subscribing in all platforms you listen to podcasts. I have a Patreon page. Please consider supporting me on Patreon if you like what I do. I am back making Rose Chronicle chapters. It's fun. It's nice to be back and doing some storytelling. New chapters will be out every Monday. I play Amy in The Reaper. Please go check that out. I play Amy in Davenport. Please go check that out. I think that's everything. And please go support these 2 phenomenal builders. They're absolutely amazing parts of the community, and this podcast loves both of you.
Aw, thank you for
Aw.
having me for my very first podcast.
You are
See,
definitely.
it wasn't that scary.
See, I told you at the top of this. It wasn't that scary. And Jubie, thank you again so much for coming to me with this idea a couple of months ago. It's been really fun getting to sit and talk with you and like learning how to, not just myself to how to build, but helping the community learn how to build.
Yeah. It's been a fun little project to kind of like help people out in a way that I'm not really helping, but I am helping, if that makes sense.
You're 100% helping. Well, ladies, it's been an absolute pleasure. Please go check out Jubie, Greenleaf, and Twitch, because I have to start plugging Twitch now. I'm on Twitch as of tonight at, I think, 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Eastern. Stay tuned. The link will be below if you'd like to do that, because that's a thing I do now. So anyways, ladies, absolute pleasure. Please go check out Jubie and that Greenleaf, and have a great rest of your day, everyone. Bye.